Okay, so Gloria's in Brisbane and not well, doing the Masters, and Victoria is in Sydney doing the Masters of Primary. Yes. So I'm so sorry it's been such a short notice.
That's okay.
And I'm so glad you can join me. I'm recording this for those who won't be able to log in. I've no idea if we're going to see anybody else. We might. There's a good list of folk on each of these subjects. So now I've got an idea of what I would like to do in this half hour. But if you've got questions, I want you to have the opportunity to ask away. It would probably be best if I did my little speech first, and then, because I might answer your question. And then I'll make sure we've got plenty of time for questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So let me tell you my story then. So I have printed off EDU522, the Bachelor one, and EDU522, the Masters one, and I'm getting myself ready for preparing for the intensive on the 25th, the week of the 25th of September. Now, I've taught this subject as intensive many times before, but not for probably 18 months. So I need to get myself back up to speed. So what I did first is I went and had a look at the assignments. And the assignments are exactly the same, but there might be a few word limits difference. And the structure is effectively the same. So the first assignment, which is due right at the end, when I say the first in the subject outline, due on November the 5th, is for the Bachelor people, it's called the critical reflection, and for the Masters, it's called the personal journey. But it's the same thing, really. And so let me ask you and encourage you, have you been keeping a personal journey this semester?
Yes, I have.
I see a nod. Gloria?
Yes, sort of. I haven't been able to do any real placement or anything.
No. It's just a personal journal which you track your, and I'm asking you to think about your journey to become teachers. And anything is right. It's simply personal. And Rita, I suspect you've started, haven't you?
Definitely. Thank you actually for seeing me at the beginning of the semester, because you're the one who tipped me off to do that.
Yeah. It's not too late if you haven't started, and I'm now talking to people not present. It's not too late, but I would strongly encourage you to use it as a sort of cathartic relaxation exercise. Don't spend hours on it. Just, it's really the quick reflection on a process, on something that you're going through, on a meeting that you've had with somebody, on something you've read. Just jot something down, and then when it comes to early November, you simply got to select, in the case of bachelors, 300 words, and in the case of masters, you've got to select 1,500 words and post them, just like an assignment. So it's a cut and paste. That's all you do. There's no fancy formatting. Oh, you don't have to do referencing. It's a sample of your personal journal, and obviously it'll be very personal and it won't get published anywhere. Okay.
So do we have to make any reference at all? Because in the Masters it says, even though it's personal, like if you should still make a few key references.
It
So-
does, but that's not the critical issue. Some references to key texts that have influenced you, your thinking and perspective. Yeah, but don't
Okay.
go
So
nuts about it.
Okay, so does it have to be an APA, or like, I guess we should still do
If you're doing a reference, then it has to be an APA 6, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's that one. And then
Jim,
yeah.
Jim, just quickly, when you said 300 words, on my one it's 1,000 words. So I thought it was 3 lots of entries, 300 words each.
Sorry, you're correct. You're reading it better than me.
Okay. All right.
So it's up to 1,000, yes. So that I don't know where there's a discrepancy there between 100 words. So I'm not going to be counting the words, but the point is, don't submit your whole journal of, I don't know, 5,000 words or something, whatever it happens to be. Just a sample. And
Yep.
it can be as selective as you wish. It doesn't have to have any particular theme, to tie them all together. It could be snapshots, or it could be a theme. It doesn't matter. If you want to illustrate a theme, that's fine. If you don't, if you just want to give a snapshot, that's fine too. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
A brief word about the minor assignment, but we'll probably come back to that in question time. The minor assignment, there's a difference. In the bachelor, interview 2 educators of your choice. And in the master's, it's 1 educator of your choice with a religious worldview, not necessarily Christian, or from your own worldview. So the idea, and I think I put a post up about this a couple of days ago, the idea is to try and look inside the person you're talking to and see, have they connected their faith with their practice? And if you can identify illustrations of that connection, that's what it's all about. Trying to see how somebody else, and if you can see it in somebody else, then the whole idea is you can potentially see it in you.
Yes.
In the future. And on the Moodle page, there's a place for you to upload a transcript of your interview. Now, that's what it says. It does say a transcript of the interviews. Take that to be a hint not to have a massive long interview. But the point is that the fact that you are uploading your interview, I'm hoping that we can engage each other, because we'll each read each other's transcripts, and somebody else might get an insight into an interview that they haven't done, and then share that with you. I'm hoping that could happen, but that would be not for marking, just for ongoing peer support. And the final one, the major essay there is, it's really in the bachelor's, it's broken down into 2 distinct parts, A and B, 1 and 2.
Can I just ask with the interview one? Just with the interview one, do you actually want a recording yourself? Like, do you want us to send that through to you?
No.
Just the transcript.
Technically speaking, the subject outline says a transcript. I have had people in the past make a recording, although it doesn't say this. They've done it on YouTube and produced a private YouTube clip, which they've then given me the password to. So, but I think that was a bit of a one-off exercise. It worked for somebody once. I'm not worried about that. What I am worried about, what will get you the marks, is the quality of your reflection on the interview, and whether or not you've seen this as an opportunity to engage with somebody else's experience of combining faith with their work. The last one, briefly, is the first part is all about your own emotional and spiritual journey. So it's incredibly personal, and I've had some incredibly moving stories, I can tell you, of people who've moved around the world or migrated. They've come from such and such a background, and how they basically came to their calling to be a teacher. It's been absolutely a privilege, and I've been in tears reading these things. It's just, boy, here am I, hopefully mentoring these people to become teachers, and their own journey has been stunning. And then in part 2, so that's part 1 is, if you like, the process to now, and part 2 is the future. And what you're asked to do there is, can you build in behaviors, practices that will give you resilience and strength for the long haul? So sleep habits, feeding habits, exercise habits, reading habits, fellowship habits. Or, the idea is you've got to map an educational behavior plan for you, which obviously fits with your psychology, to hopefully give you some guideposts for the future when the going gets tough, which it no doubt will for teachers. Coping mechanisms for the future. So it's an incredibly exciting course, but intellectually it's not particularly demanding. Emotionally and spiritually, highly demanding. So if you're coming to the intensive, come prayed up and prepared. I suggest you have people, seriously, I've never felt like saying this before, but have people praying for you, because it is quite a week. It's quite a week. And
should we bring
the idea is you come out stronger for it.
Should we bring tissues?
I've got my box on the desk here. Yes, you probably should. Yeah. So look, that's my speech. That took 15 minutes or whatever. In terms of preparing, spiritually prepare yourself for the week, and if you can't be here, then prepare yourself for watching the videos. So over to you, question time.
Just with that third, this one that we just spoke on, the 3,000 words for the bachelor, how do we, like for part 1, how much is the suggestion for words as to part 2, or do you want it evenly spread?
It's usually even, unless it says, yeah. So assume even.
All right.
So the first part, it is definitely very, very personal and coming out of your journal, whereas the second part is a bit more concrete and factual, but again personal in the sense that it's reflecting on your own personality and what I'll give you a heads up. One of the questions I ask in the intensive is, and probably this will be towards the end of the week, maybe Thursday, what is your biggest fear about going into teaching? And that's around a room of people, that is incredible to hear what people's biggest fear is. So prepare yourself, read up. There's material on the Moodle page. Don't feel as if you have to go through it all. We'll go through a lot of that material during the week, but just prepare yourself for the week.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So, just in terms of the minor assignment.
Yeah.
So, because we're just reflecting on the interview that we did and how they've connected their teaching and beliefs together. So, do we need to do any reference, or is it just like so we can write in I and like?
You can certainly write in I whenever you like. That's never going to upset me. It's never upset me and never will. This one, yeah, there'll be references.
Okay.
There'll be reference, but it's not heavily referenced because the most important thing you're referencing is the interview, and you're referencing the person you've interviewed or persons you've interviewed. But you're bound to reflect on the stuff you've read and people that have influenced you. You know, I'd be very surprised if you're not referencing Parker Palmer.
Yeah.
Courage to Teach. He'd be a standout.
Okay. All right, but it's not like having to prove something based on a reference and blah blah blah. It's like the references are like the guiding framework kind of thing, and then
they're illustrative. Blah 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 blah, as in Parker Palmer.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Anyone else?
Just back to the critical reflection.
Yeah.
So with the separate, because I'm thinking how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do 3 separate entries.
Yeah.
Do I need to have headings, or can I just do a paragraph for each entry?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, please. I mean, reading from your transcript, from your outline, the things it's highlighting there are demonstrate understanding of how you sought and applied constructive feedback from supervisors, teachers, students to modify your teaching practices. I would take that one to be if it happens to fit with your journal. I wouldn't say this is mandatory. The next dot point, include any personality profile instruments, etc. that have impacted your teaching. Now, during the week, we will do some of those anyway, so you'll have those to reference. Make some reference to key writers who've influenced your thinking and perspective. Integrate any other journal excerpts where appropriate in the above. I don't like the language of that. They're just, see them as illustrative ideas if you're struggling for ideas, but if you're not struggling, you're simply making a selection from your journal.
Yeah, well, I was taking, because I've done a bit of reading, and there were quite a few readings that really did resonate.
Good.
With me. So I was going to base it along those lines about how it resonated within me.
Good. Brilliant. Yeah.
Okay.
And wouldn't worry about other dot points if they don't particularly fit.
Sure, okay. I think that's everything for me. You've basically cleared up a lot of stuff. Good.
Well, it's been a long time. Here we are in September, and we started in July, and I'm I'm a bit conscious that it's been a crazy semester, and I've been not well. Anyone else? No, let's not force it. If there's no questions, they'll come to you, and please go to the news forum and drop them down there so everyone can see the question. Oh, maybe I'll do one thing. Looking at, you can actually look at the PowerPoints on the Moodle page, have a skim through those, A big part of the week comes under number 3 of the contents, Renovations of the Heart by Willard, 2002. So you'll see that I've got a whole bunch of frames from Willard, and it really is a week where we see what a spiritual perspective can do for our heart and how our hearts can be transformed. So that's, if you like, the heart of the whole week, that point 3 there. The one above it, number 2, is, I suppose the focus there is on how leaders learn. And by that I mean, how do you learn? So what are you putting in place so that you can always claim to be teachable, always claim to be a learner, and you can learn from anybody? You can't be overcritical and say, well, I'm not going to learn anything from them. They've got a different worldview. Well, you may well learn something from them because they've got a different worldview. So that's number 2. The last one, the sustainable model of Christian education, that's a bit of my research earlier. I don't want to make a big deal about that, but that is, if you like, a bit more out of the personal. It's more, what sort of world are we going to go into as teachers? Where do you feel where do you feel you're called? Christian school, non-Christian school, primarily. Okay.
Sounds like a good week to look forward to.
Well, it is. It's. I would argue it's better than Foundations. It's an incredible course.
Okay, well, I'll see you then.
No worries. Last question. Anyone? Going. I will see you, or I will not see you, on the 25th.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.